sure you've heard the gastrological rundown of the Jewish year. Rosh Hashanah, eat apples and honey. Yom Kippur, eat nothing. Sukkot, eat in a sukkah. Simchat Torah, eat Torah-shaped cookies. It's a tradition. Asara B'Tevet, eat nothing. Hanukkah, eat latkes. Ta'anit Esther, eat nothing. Purim, eat triangle-shaped cookies. Passover, no cookies. Shavuot, eat dairy. Tisha B'Av, don't even think about dairy. Jewish holidays seem to be dominated by food. Of course, we remember the triumvirate Rabbi Litwack mentioned on Rosh Hashanah. They tried to kill us. They failed. About 50%. Let's eat. Perhaps it's unfair of me to offer a sermon about food on Yom Kippur. But we've just begun our fast. You might be wondering why I would offer a food sermon tonight of all nights. Maybe you're already looking forward to break fast tomorrow, or that apple on the way out of Ne'ilah. As a people who regularly celebrate around food, we understand the excitement that can surround it. The anticipation of Grandma's matzo ball soup, the nose-holding over pickled herring and gefilte fish, the challenge over cooking on Passover. These are all joys that characterize the Jewish people, and joys that millions of Americans cannot experience because they cannot afford food for themselves or their families. 1 in 7 families in the United States receives food stamp benefits. That's over 42 million Americans, including 16.2 million children. 15% of Americans currently live below the poverty line, averaging an income of $693 per month per household. The average American family of 4 spends $950 on groceries each month. To make up some of that difference, many people rely on the SNAP program to be able to afford to feed themselves. SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program and used to be known simply as food stamps. It provides low-income households with electronic benefits they can use to purchase food at stores authorized by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. SNAP is the cornerstone of federal food assistance programs and provides crucial support to needy households and to those making the transition from welfare to work. And it is in danger of getting cuts as part of a congressional initiative to cut $1.5 trillion from our budget. This year, I decided to participate in the Jewish Council for Public Affairs Food Stamp Challenge. This year is the 5th annual Food Stamp Challenge, which usually takes place in November around Thanksgiving. This year, they added one to target the Jewish community the week before the High Holy Days began. So, what is the Food Stamp Challenge? It's a way for participants to experience firsthand the challenges of hunger in the United States. The average weekly SNAP benefit is $31.50 per person. This is where the challenge comes in. For 1 week, from September 7th to September 13th, I spent only $31.50 on food for myself. That averages out to about $1.50 per meal. To put this into perspective, when planning a teen trip, which I do from time to time, we typically budget $50 per person per day. A SNAP recipient spends $31.50 per week. So I did the same. No sushi, no yogurt land, not even a veggie burger. I carefully budgeted my $31.50 for food. This program has pretty strict rules. I wasn't allowed to accept food from friends and family. I wasn't allowed to take food from work, which includes the oneg table. I couldn't even take food from a friend unless I calculated that cost of food out of my budget. It's a very stringent set of rules made for a very challenging week. My own eating habits, those of you who know me, my love of fresh fruits and vegetables, my vegetarianism, my Epicurean tendencies, made this an especially challenging week for me on a personal level. So why did I submit myself to such a torturous challenge? Well, as we fast tomorrow, we will be reminded of the prophet Isaiah's words. In chapter 58, Isaiah asks, "Why do we fast without recognizing? Why do we afflict our soul without knowing why? Is this the fast I have chosen, a day for afflicting the soul? Will you call this a fast and a day acceptable to Adonai? Is not this the fast I have chosen, to loose the chains of wickedness and undo the bonds of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to bring the homeless poor into your home? If you draw out your soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then your light will rise in the darkness and your gloom will be as bright as the noonday sun." We are reminded by Isaiah of the real reasons we fast, not to make a show of it, not to demonstrate what good fasters we are, not to compare who's having a harder time of it. We do this to cleanse our bodies so we can focus our souls. We fast to empathize with those who do not have as much as we do. This is a regular theme throughout Jewish practice. We are often reminded to help out those in need and to try to feel what they are feeling. Consider just a few examples from our tradition. The Passover Seder reminds us that all who are hungry should come and eat, and all who are in need should share in our bounty. Leviticus teaches to leave the corners of our fields so that the poor can come and glean and collect whatever we leave behind. Deuteronomy contains the instruction, "If there is a poor person among you, you shall not harden your heart or shut your hand against your poor brother or sister." Perhaps the best way to soften our hearts to the plight of the poor is to walk a mile in their shoes. The food stamp challenge in no way gave me complete empathy for the people who participate regularly in SNAP. There's no way I could claim to fully understand what they go through on a regular basis. Instead, it gave me a glimpse of what they go through each and every week. So tonight I want to give you a glimpse into what I experienced during my week on the food stamp challenge. I went shopping before the week began. I found myself walking through the aisles of Walmart with a calculator, deciding what I could and could not afford that week. Not surprising, I could not afford much in the realm of fruit and vegetables. Bananas are cheap and filling, so that was good, but all the vegetables on my menu were frozen or canned. Now, I'm a salad eater. A typical lunch for me is a salad with a can of tuna. This week it was cheese sandwiches and rice and beans. Speaking of cheese sandwiches, this was one of the big decisions I was faced with: peanut butter or cheese. I knew that both would provide protein for me and that I could put either one on the bread I had bought, but which one would suit me better for the week? I think about decisions like this and I marvel at the millions of people who have to think like that every time they're in a grocery store. Cheese or peanut butter is certainly not as severe a decision as some of the very real choices SNAP participants make, but theirs are more like food or medicine. Day one of the challenge was Friday, September 7th. I realized right away what was probably going to be the hardest part of the challenge: coffee. I bought a container of instant coffee called Pampa. I'd never heard of it before. It is appropriately named, however, because Pampa tastes like a diaper. When it is hot, it is kind of bland with a rotten nut aftertaste. But when it gets cold, By 11 a.m. on the first day, I was seriously considering spending all the rest of my money on coffee. There were plenty of other difficulties during the food stamp challenge. Saturday night was Slichot, the Saturday before Rosh Hashanah, and as is tradition, we held a study session followed by a teen overnight. And when the teen overnight began, we began in the traditional teen way. We opened a bag of pretzels and a bag of pita chips. I was confronted by a trio of teens asking the all-important question, where's the hummus? I apologized and acknowledged that it would have been a good idea to get some hummus, but their complaining increased. No hummus? Who buys pita chips without hummus? We get the big thing of hummus at home. It's gone in days. Have you had the spinach and artichoke one? It's awesome. I told the teens about the food stamp challenge. I explained that some people in our country have never had pita chips, much less hummus. I told them they wouldn't see me eating anything with them that night because I was eating on $31.50 that week. My friends, there is nobody in this world like a teenager. They got it right away. They were amazed. They admitted that they wouldn't be able to do something like that, and they asked permission to eat in front of me. The next morning, no one complained about the generic breakfast foods I had bought.